Long before people in Korea used money for buying and selling things, they already knew about gold. This beautiful, shiny metal was not for everyday people. It was something special, something rare and precious. The earliest Koreans discovered that gold did not rust or change over time. It stayed bright and beautiful forever. This quality made them think gold was magical and connected to the sun and the heavens. So, they began to use it for very important purposes. They didn't make coins from it. Instead, they crafted stunning objects that told stories of power, belief, and incredible skill. These were the first golden treasures of Korea, marking the beginning of a long and fascinating history with this amazing metal. The first major use of gold was for personal adornment, but not just any kind of jewelry. We are talking about items for the most powerful people in the land, the kings and queens, the princes and princesses. Archaeologists have found amazing things in ancient tombs, especially from the Three Kingdoms period. These tombs were like time capsules, preserving the treasures of the elite. Inside, they discovered breathtaking gold crowns, intricate earrings that dangled with delicate golden leaves, and ornate belts decorated with shimmering gold plates. These items were not just pretty decorations, they were symbols of immense status. Wearing gold meant you were closer to the gods, that you ruled over others, and that your power was as eternal as the metal itself. Beyond jewelry, gold was also essential for rituals. Ancient Koreans believed in a world filled with spirits and powerful gods. To communicate with these divine beings or to honor the dead, they used objects made of gold. Shamans, who were spiritual leaders, might have used golden tools in their ceremonies. When a great ruler died, they were buried with golden artifacts to ensure their safe journey to the afterlife and to maintain their high status even after death. These ritual objects could be anything from golden shoes, designed to walk in the spirit world, to golden cups for offerings. The metal's purity and incorruptibility made it the perfect material to connect the human world with the divine, a bridge between earth and the heavens. The craftsmanship of these early gold items is truly astonishing, even by today's standards. The artisans of ancient Korea developed incredibly sophisticated techniques. They could create thin sheets of gold, almost like paper, and cut them into delicate shapes. They mastered filigree, a technique of twisting thin gold wires into complex patterns, and granulation, where tiny gold beads were fused onto a surface to create texture. Imagine making these intricate designs thousands of years ago, without modern tools. This level of skill shows that gold was not just a material, it was a medium for the highest form of artistic expression. Each piece tells a story of a society that valued beauty, precision, and spiritual depth. Of the three kingdoms of ancient Korea, Goguryeo, Baekje, and Silla, it was the Silla kingdom that truly earned the nickname the Kingdom of Gold. The sheer amount and quality of gold artifacts discovered in the royal tombs of Gyeongju, the Silla capital, are simply mind-blowing. These discoveries have shown the world just how central gold was to Silla's royal culture. The Silla kings and queens didn't just wear a little bit of gold, they were draped in it from head to toe. Their crowns were not simple bands of metal, but elaborate structures resembling trees and antlers, reaching towards the sky. This design was deeply symbolic, representing a connection between the ruler on earth and the powers of heaven, a kind of world tree that linked different realms. The symbolism of gold in Silla culture was layered and profound. Its eternal, unchanging nature represented the king's everlasting power and the permanence of his dynasty. Gold was like the sun, powerful, life-giving, and a source of ultimate authority. By surrounding themselves with gold, the Silla rulers were making a very clear statement to their people and their rivals. They were not just ordinary leaders, they were divinely sanctioned sovereigns whose right to rule was as pure and undeniable as the precious metal they wore. This powerful message was reinforced in every aspect of royal life, from grand ceremonies to the quiet solitude of the royal tomb, where gold would accompany them into eternity. The burial practices of the Silla elite are a testament to their obsession with gold. The massive burial mounds, or tumuli, of Gyeongju have yielded some of the most spectacular golden treasures in world history. When a king or queen died, they were not just buried with a few favorite items. They were entombed with a vast collection of golden objects meant to replicate their worldly status in the afterlife. This included their magnificent crowns, belts, earrings, necklaces, bracelets, and even golden bowls and spoons. These items were packed into the burial chamber, ensuring that the ruler would continue to live in splendor. It shows a belief that the afterlife was a continuation of earthly life, and one needed the right status symbols to navigate it. The most iconic of all Silla artifacts are the gold crowns. These are unlike any other crowns in the world. They are made from thin sheets of cut gold, with uprights shaped like trees and antlers, and decorated with hundreds of tiny dangling gold spangles and comma-shaped jade pieces called gogok. When the wearer moved, these spangles would shimmer and flicker in the light, creating a dazzling, almost divine aura. It must have been an awe-inspiring sight. These crowns were likely not for everyday wear, as they are quite delicate. Instead, they were probably worn during important state rituals, where the king acted as the chief shaman and intermediary between his people and the heavens, his golden crown shining like a beacon of celestial power. After the fall of the Silla kingdom, the Goryeo dynasty rose to power. While Goryeo is famously known for its stunning Celadon pottery, gold continued to be a material of high prestige. However, its role began to shift subtly. The extravagant golden burials of the Silla period became less common. Instead, Goryeo artisans focused their skills on creating exquisite gold-inlaid lacquerware and Buddhist art. Temples and statues were often decorated with gold leaf, reflecting the importance of Buddhism as the state religion. Gold was still a symbol of wealth and power, used for royal accessories and diplomatic gifts, but it was perhaps used more sparingly and with a different kind of refined elegance compared to the bold statements of the Silla rulers. During the long-lasting Joseon dynasty, which followed Goryeo, the role of gold became even more restricted. Joseon society was guided by the principles of Confucianism, which emphasized simplicity, frugality, and social order. Extravagant displays of wealth were often discouraged, especially compared to the Silla era. Gold was still used by the royal family for ceremonial items, such as hairpins, pendants, and royal seals, but its use was carefully controlled. For most of the Joseon period, there was no official gold coinage for trade. The economy ran on a system of barter, with rice and cloth serving as common forms of currency. For smaller transactions, people used simple bronze or copper coins called yeopjeon. The primary use of gold during these centuries was for luxury goods and as a store of wealth for the elite. Wealthy families might own gold items, but they were not something you would see in a common marketplace. Gold was also a critical component of international relations. Korea often had to pay tribute to its powerful neighbor, China, and this tribute frequently included large quantities of gold and silver. This constant outflow of precious metals meant that there was less gold available within the country for things like coinage. The government preferred to keep tight control over gold reserves for state purposes, such as funding the military or for diplomatic emergencies, rather than putting it into public circulation. So, for nearly 1,000 years, from the beginning of the Goryeo dynasty to the late Joseon dynasty, Korea existed without a gold currency. The economy functioned perfectly well for its time using other means. The focus was on agriculture, and the value of goods was often measured in rice. The bronze coins that were available handled the day-to-day needs of the markets. Gold remained in the realm of the palace, the temples, and the treasure chests of the nobility. It was a symbol of ultimate value, a material for art and tribute, but it was not yet money. This long period set the stage for a dramatic change that would come at the end of the 19th century, when Korea was forced to modernize and join the global economy. The late 19th century was a time of immense change and upheaval for Korea. The Hermit Kingdom, as it was known, was facing intense pressure from foreign powers like Japan, Russia, and the United States to open its borders and modernize. As part of this push for modernization, Emperor Gojong of the newly declared Korean Empire decided that Korea needed its own modern currency system, one that could be recognized internationally. For centuries, the economy had relied on barter and simple base metal coins. To be seen as a modern sovereign nation, Korea needed to adopt the gold standard, the international benchmark for currency at the time. This led to a historic decision. For the first time, Korea would mint its own official gold coins. This was a massive turning point. The introduction of gold coins was not just about economics, it was a powerful political statement. By issuing coins made of gold, the Korean Empire was asserting its independence and its equal standing with other major world powers. The new coins were designed to reflect this newfound national pride. The designs were modern, featuring a dragon, a powerful symbol of the emperor and imperial authority, on one side. On the other side, the coin's value was clearly stated, along with the name of the country, Daehan, meaning Great Han, and the regnal year. This was a clear break from the old-style cast coins and a bold step into the world of modern minting. The first modern gold coins were minted in 1901. They came in 3 denominations: 21, 10-1, and 5-1. The 21 coin was the largest and contained the most gold, making it a significant piece of currency. These coins were produced using modern machinery, some of which was imported from Germany, ensuring a high level of quality and consistency that was impossible to achieve with old casting methods. The coins were struck, not cast, giving them sharp details and a uniform appearance. This new minting technology was a symbol of Korea's ambition to catch up with the West and Japan, to build a strong economy, and to protect its sovereignty in a dangerous and competitive world. The purpose of these gold coins was twofold. First, they were meant to stabilize the nation's currency and facilitate international trade. By backing its money with gold, Korea could create a more reliable financial system. Second, and perhaps more importantly, they were a symbol of national identity and modernity. Having your emperor's emblem on a shiny gold coin was a source of immense pride. It was a message to the world that Korea was no longer a reclusive kingdom, but a modern empire with its own proud traditions and a future it intended to control. These coins represented Emperor Gojong's dream of a strong, independent, and prosperous Korea, a dream captured in gleaming gold. The dream of a modern Korean currency system, symbolized by the beautiful new gold coins, was unfortunately very short-lived. The period of the Korean Empire was a time of intense geopolitical struggle, and Korea was caught between the ambitions of larger, more powerful nations. The gold coins were minted starting in 1901, but by 1905, Japan had effectively established a protectorate over Korea following the Russo-Japanese War. This marked the beginning of the end for Korean sovereignty and for its independent currency. The Japanese quickly began to exert control over Korea's financial system, and the production of the Korean Empire's gold coins came to a halt. Because of this very short production window, from about 1901 to around 1905, very few of these gold coins were ever made. Their circulation was also extremely limited. These were high-value coins, with the 21 piece representing a significant amount of money that an ordinary person might not see in a year. They were intended more for large transactions, banking, and international trade, rather than for buying groceries at the local market. This limited use, combined with the brief production period, meant that the coins were rare from the very beginning. They never had the chance to become a common part of the Korean economy. As Japan's control over Korea tightened, the Korean currency was gradually replaced by Japanese colonial currency. The beautiful dragon-adorned gold coins of the Korean Empire were withdrawn from circulation. Many were likely melted down for their gold content, either by the colonial authorities or by individuals. This process was part of a larger Japanese policy to erase Korean national identity. By replacing the currency, Japan was removing a potent symbol of Korean independence. The disappearance of these coins from public life was a sad reflection of the loss of the nation's sovereignty. The era of Korea's first and only circulating gold coinage had ended almost as soon as it began. Today, the gold coins of the Korean Empire are incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors around the world. They are not just old coins. They are precious historical artifacts that tell a poignant story. They represent a fleeting moment of hope, a bold assertion of national pride, and the tragic end of an empire. Each surviving coin is a tangible link to Emperor Gojong's dream of a modern, independent Korea. For historians and numismatists, these coins are invaluable because they capture the spirit of a nation at a critical crossroads, making them one of the most significant and treasured parts of Korea's long history with gold. After Japan formally annexed Korea in 1910, the story of gold in Korea entered a dark chapter. During the 35 years of Japanese colonial rule, Korea's resources, including its gold mines, were heavily exploited to benefit the Japanese Empire. Gold production was controlled by the colonial government, and much of the precious metal was shipped to Japan to support its economy and military expansion. For ordinary Koreans, gold became even more distant. The national currency was the Japanese yen, and the symbols of Korean independence, like the empire's gold coins, were a fading memory. Owning gold was, well, a private affair, a way for families to preserve wealth in uncertain times, but it had no official role in public life. The end of World War II in 1945 brought liberation, but it was followed by new challenges, the division of the country, and the devastating Korean War from 1950 to 1953. In the decades after the war, South Korea was focused on one thing: survival and rebuilding. The nation was one of the poorest in the world, and the government's priorities were on developing infrastructure and industry, not on minting gold coins. The economy had to be built from the ground up. Gold was still seen as a valuable asset, and the Bank of Korea, the central bank, began to build up its gold reserves as a foundation for a stable economy. But it was a slow and difficult process. For the average citizen, the focus was on hard work and securing a better future, not on precious metals. As South Korea's economy began to perform its famous miracle on the Han River in the 1970s and 1980s, the country transformed into an economic powerhouse. With newfound prosperity, there was a renewed interest in the nation's culture and history. The government and the public began to look back and appreciate the treasures of the past. This cultural renaissance, combined with a strong economy, created the perfect conditions for a new chapter in Korea's story of gold. The nation was no longer just surviving, it was thriving. It was time to once again create beautiful objects from gold, not for currency, but for celebration and remembrance. This led to the establishment of a modern mint, the Korea Minting and Security Printing Corporation, or KOMSCO. With the technological capability and the economic stability to do so, South Korea was ready to re-enter the world of gold minting. However, this time, the purpose would be completely different from the Korean Empire's attempt a century earlier. These new gold coins would not be used to buy things in stores. Instead, they would be created as works of art, as items for collectors, and as a way for people to invest in the timeless value of gold. It was a new beginning, one that connected modern prosperity with a deep appreciation for a long and storied past. Today, South Korea has a vibrant and sophisticated program for minting gold coins managed by KOMSCO. These modern coins are not intended for circulation. You won't receive one as change from a store. Instead, they fall into two main categories: commemorative coins and bullion coins. Commemorative coins are created to celebrate important national events, historical anniversaries, or cultural achievements. For example, when South Korea hosted the 1988 Seoul Olympics, KOMSCO issued a beautiful series of gold and silver coins to mark the occasion. These coins are works of art, featuring intricate designs related to the event they honor, and are highly prized by collectors both in Korea and internationally. Bullion coins, on the other hand, are produced primarily for investors. Their value is based almost entirely on their gold content, or bullion value. While they have a face value printed on them, a nominal amount in Korean won, their real worth fluctuates with the daily market price of gold. South Korea's flagship bullion series is the Chiwoo Cheonwang series. Cheonwang is a legendary figure in Korean mythology, a god of war, and a powerful symbol of victory. The coins feature dynamic and artistic depictions of this mythological hero, which change with each year's release. This makes them appealing not just to investors, but also to collectors who appreciate the artistry and storytelling. The designs on these modern gold coins are a beautiful fusion of Korean tradition and modern minting technology. Comsco employs state-of-the-art techniques to create coins with stunning detail, unique finishes, and even security features to prevent counterfeiting. The themes often draw from deep within Korean culture. You might see coins featuring famous Korean landmarks, endangered animals like the Korean tiger, important figures from history, or elements of traditional art and folklore. Each coin is a small, portable piece of Korean culture, a miniature sculpture in gold that tells a story. They serve as cultural ambassadors, sharing the richness of Korea's heritage with the rest of the world. For South Koreans, these gold coins represent a source of national pride. They are a symbol of how far the country has come. A nation that was once so poor it could not afford to dream of minting gold is now producing some of the most beautiful and technologically advanced coins in the world. Owning one of these coins is a way to connect with the nation's history, celebrate its modern achievements, and invest in a tangible asset. From the ancient crowns of Silla to the modern bullion of Cheonwang, gold has remained a constant thread in the Korean story, transforming in its purpose, but never losing its power to signify value, beauty, and identity. It might seem strange that a kingdom as rich in gold artifacts as Silla did not develop gold coinage. If they had so much gold, why didn't they use it for money? The answer lies in the structure of the ancient Korean economy and society. For centuries, Korea's economy was primarily agrarian, based on farming. The most important measure of wealth was not gold, but land and the rice it produced. For everyday transactions, a system of barter was sufficient. People traded goods and services directly. If you needed a pot, you might trade a chicken for it. For larger exchanges, standardized units of rice or bolts of cloth served as a common medium of exchange, a form of commodity money. Another key reason was the influence of Korea's powerful neighbor, China. For much of its history, Korea was part of the Chinese cultural and economic sphere. China itself had a long tradition of using cast bronze or copper coins for daily commerce, while reserving gold and silver for bulk savings, large payments, and as imperial treasure. This model heavily influenced Korea. The Korean government adopted a similar system, issuing its own copper coins for use in markets. Furthermore, Chinese coins were widely circulated and accepted in Korea, reducing the need for the government to invest the massive resources required to mint its own full range of currency, especially precious metal coins. The government's perspective on precious metals also played a crucial role. Korean rulers in the Goryeo and Joseon dynasties viewed gold and silver not as potential currency for the masses, but as a strategic state asset. These metals were essential for funding the military, for emergency state expenses, and, very importantly, for diplomacy. As mentioned, large amounts of gold and silver were often required as tribute payments to China. Therefore, the government preferred to hoard these precious metals in state treasuries, rather than distribute them among the populace in the form of coins. Allowing gold to circulate freely would have been seen as a loss of state control over a vital strategic resource. Finally, the push for modernization came relatively late to Korea. Unlike European nations that developed gold coinage as their empires and global trade networks expanded, Korea remained relatively isolated until the late 19th century. There was no internal economic pressure to create a gold-based currency. The traditional system, while not modern, worked for the needs of the society. It was only when Korea was forced onto the world stage and had to engage in international trade on modern terms that the need for a gold standard and gold coinage became urgent. This historical context explains why Korea's first gold coins appeared 1,000 years after the golden age of Silla. In the end, the story of gold in Korea is about so much more than just money. In fact, for most of its history, Gold was explicitly not money. Its value came from something deeper. From the very beginning, gold was tied to the sacred and the powerful. The golden crowns of Silla were not just hats for kings. They were conduits to the heavens, symbols of divine authority that were as bright and eternal as the sun. The delicate gold earrings and belts were not just accessories. They were markers of a divinely ordained social order. These artifacts show us that ancient Koreans saw gold as a substance that could bridge the gap between the human and the spiritual worlds. This legacy of gold as a medium for art and belief continued through the Goryeo and Joseon periods. While its use became more restrained, its purpose remained elevated. Gold was used to adorn Buddhist statues, adding a divine radiance to objects of worship. It was crafted into the exquisite personal effects of the royal family, a subtle but constant reminder of their special status. The technology used to work the gold, the fine wires of filigree, the tiny beads of granulation, the smooth polish of a royal seal, represents the pinnacle of Korean artistic and technological achievement in each era. These objects are not just made of gold, they are made of history, skill, and cultural pride. The brief and poignant history of the Korean Empire's gold coins adds another layer to this story. These coins represent a moment of transition, a collision between tradition and modernity. They were an attempt to use gold in a new way, as a tool of modern statecraft and economic policy. Their rarity and the story of their demise serve as a powerful reminder of a difficult period in Korean history, a time when the nation's sovereignty was lost. They are a testament to a dream of independence that was captured in gold, however briefly. They show that even when gold was finally used as money, it was still deeply intertwined with the nation's identity and its political destiny. Today, as Comsco mints new gold coins for collectors and investors, the circle feels complete. These modern pieces connect back to the very beginning. Like the Silla crowns, they are not for everyday exchange. They are objects of beauty and symbolic value. They celebrate Korean culture, from ancient myths to modern achievements. They demonstrate a mastery of technology and art, just as the ancient artifacts did. The long and winding history of gold in Korea shows us that its true value was never just about how much it could buy. It has always been a reflection of the nation's soul, its art, its beliefs, its struggles, and its enduring spirit. Gold is, and always has been, a part of Korea's golden legacy.